Apple CEO Steve Jobs is synonymous with the brand. So, what will his medical leave mean for the company's future? Leander Kahney, the editor and publisher of The Cult of Mac, joins us live from San Francisco. Welcome to the program. And Leander, without sounding insensitive here, what does Steve Jobs' poor health mean for Apple's upcoming products?
Well, in the short term, nothing. They have a deep product pipeline. They've got products lined up for the next generation of the iPad and the iPhone, and a roadmap for probably the next 3 to 5 years. So in the immediate short term, nothing. The company is well prepared for his leave of absence. Nothing really is going to change in the next 3 to 5 years on the product roadmap front.
Okay, so no impact on the iPad 2 or the next generation iPhone. But what will happen to salesmanship at Apple? I mean, Steve Jobs is very well known for giving compelling product intros. Will that be lost without him?
Oh, certainly, yeah. There's no one that puts on a show like Steve Jobs. But they have Phil Schiller, the head of the marketing, and he's a pretty funny guy, but he doesn't have the same sort of magnetism that Steve has. So, yeah, that will certainly suffer.
And Apple's long-term future without Steve Jobs, what are your thoughts?
Well, it's a good question. Obviously it's not going to have the same magic without him. But look at Pixar, his other company. While he was running Apple, Pixar was turning out, a string of blockbuster movies. And he had set up the creative processes at Pixar, and it was able to execute without him micromanaging everything that went on there. And I think the same is going to be true at Apple. He's got a really good, deep bench of executive talent. They've got these great creative processes at the company, and I think it's going to manage without him.
Interesting parallel with Pixar there. And very near term, Apple is set to announce corporate earnings later on Tuesday. What are you looking out for? What are you expecting to hear?
I think it's going to be a massive blockbuster quarter. They sold, more Macs, iPhones, iPads than even the analysts are expecting. They were talking about a really huge quarter. I mean, maybe $2 billion above Wall Street estimates. So I think it's going to be another massive quarter, best ever in Apple's history.
Okay, and any insider information from you about the iPad 2 in particular?
No, there's lots of rumors. It looks like it's going to have a really beautiful big screen. It's going to be a really gorgeous looking device.
And I also have to ask you, any insider information on Steve Jobs' health and what exactly is ailing him? What is the word in Silicon Valley?
Well, there's just a lot of speculation. No one really has any good information. People are hoping that it's to do with his liver transplant, that the drug regime is under the immunosuppressants are impacting his health. Of course, everyone's hoping that it's not a recurrence of the cancer.
Does Apple have a rock-solid succession plan in place, and could Tim Cook very well be running the company someday?
Well, it certainly looks that way. Yeah, Cook is the anointed successor. It's got a great team. One of the best management teams in American business, and there's lots of people that I think will fill some of the roles that Steve has been performing there at Apple. So Tim will, continue to run the company day to day, but the product design, of course, is headed up by Jonathan Ive, the London-born designer. The marketing is run by Phil Schiller. He's been there forever. A very competent marketer. So there's a lot of people that will fill, at least part of Steve's shoes.
You mentioned the team, but these are individuals who really have not been sharing the limelight with Steve Jobs. So do you think over the years, has it been wise for Apple to allow its brand to be so closely aligned to a single individual?
Well, it worked great while Steve was there. Of course, this is the crunch time. This is the point where that strategy doesn't look so, it looks a little fallible. But I think it worked great. It was very wise of them to use Steve as a figurehead. As everyone knows, that Apple is Steve Jobs and Steve Jobs is Apple. I mean, he's done a great job being the figurehead for that company, really humanized it, really put a human face on such a big company. So, yeah, of course, now when he's stepping down, there's a vacuum. But I think Phil Schiller is a very funny presenter. He'll do a good job of the product presentations.
All right, Leander, it's an absolute pleasure talking with you. Leander Kainer of Cult of Mac, thank you very much indeed.